Alright, hi Jenny. Today, before we get started, I just wanted to go over a confidentiality agreement, which means that anything that's said between you and I today is completely confidential, except if I think you're going to hurt yourself or others, just because I care about your safety. Is there any questions with that?
No, I don't think so.
Alright, awesome. What brings you in here today?
Well, I was hoping I could talk about my boyfriend a little bit. We're in a long-distance relationship, and so that can be kind of a weird thing to negotiate sometimes. So
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So how long have you been in a relationship with him?
about like a year and a half, going on 2 years. It's like a year and a half at Thanksgiving, so like kind of that long. So it was like the summer after freshman year that we started dating.
Okay. Has it been long distance the entire time?
Yeah,
or?
except for like over the summer. But like he's actually from Lee Summit. We went to summer camp together. It's how we know each other, and so we like even when we're both home, we're like we don't live in the same state ever. So like he's only 30 minutes away like over the summer, but then like now he's like 3 hours away. So like so it's like kind of long distance in the sense since I can't just like drive over and see him like any night of the week or whatever. But
Okay.
but not like the worst thing.
Cool. So you said he's 3 hours away?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how often do you end up seeing him then?
About like every 2 weeks or so, but the worst it's ever been has been like 5 weeks, and like that sucks. So like we've been trying. The longer we date, the closer, like the more we try to do like every 2 weeks. So I'm probably gonna see him this weekend, but I don't know. Like sometimes it's like, oh, I have a project coming up, or like, oh, like we have a family, emergency or something.
Yeah. Okay. So do you have a specific schedule you guys follow? Like you go that way one time,
really.
or
So like, cause that's the hard part, right? Is so that like, so we try to do like off and on, but then like if like he's like, oh, well, I'm gonna go. Like we both have to drive through our house, like our home, like city, to get to the other one because he goes to Mizzou.
Okay.
Mizzou. But right, but so sometimes if you're like driving through like our house, my parents would be like, oh, well, like why don't you just like spend the night like here, and then like it gets complicated, and so like sometimes we'll just meet in the middle, or like sometimes. So like that can be a problem because sometimes like there's a semester where I'll see his friends all the time and he'll like never see mine, or like sometimes he'll be here a lot and we like don't. So like the friends thing is almost like complicated too, like trying to figure out like how to set the right balance with like seeing our friends and our family and like each other's friends. And
Yeah. So do you feel like you might know his friends more than he knows your friends a little bit?
Sometimes, yeah,
Okay.
because it's easier for me to get there than it is for him to get here sometimes.
Okay. So even when you do see each other, you're still managing time.
Yeah,
Like, whoever
it's
else is
never
around.
like carefree.
Okay.
Really.
Okay. Cool. So when he is coming in, do you usually meet him at your parents' house, you said?
Sometimes, yeah, well, it'll happen that way. Or like, I lived in the scholarship halls last year, and so like you can have male guests over, but it's like really complicated, and like they have to use like a certain bathroom like in the basement. And I like lived on the top floor, and you have to like walk with them there, and like there isn't a shower for him to use. And so like last year especially, like he didn't feel like he could spend the night very often, and so that a lot of times last year we would meet at like my house or his house. This year, now that I live in an apartment, it's like easier to do that, but still we've like gotten to the habit of like where he'll just drive to his house and like be there, and I'll meet him there.
So do you ever feel like you don't really have like privacy with him or anything, just because
Sometimes it can feel that way because it's like
not 100% your house or anything?
yeah, because like definitely at my house, like I'm the older sister, and so like we're not allowed to like sleep in the same bed. Like when we're at my house, his mom doesn't really care about that, so it's just like easier to go to his house than like my house. So there's always this like, it's not a big deal, but like a competition, I guess, between like, but it's not even like a competition really. It's just kind of like you get
How it
like
works out.
yeah, like you build a pattern and then you just kind of.
Exactly. Have you thought about switching up that pattern about how things are
We've
working?
talked about it a little bit. It's just like it feels like until we're like both like adults with our own like places trying to figure out a relationship, like it's hard. Like I can't change my parents' mind about like him staying the night, or like I can't like next year we're gonna have different living situations maybe, but like it feels like it's hard to like negotiate certain things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like yeah, because like I'm in an apartment complex and that's like how it is, and so like it's good this year in this apartment complex, but then like next year if we move closer to campus and we get like a smaller apartment, like I don't know how that'll like affect like, or if I have to share a room again with Caitlin or whatever, my old roommate. So
yeah.
I don't know.
So do you ever feel like your relationship is not necessarily strained, but made more difficult just because you are farther away?
It's like more it's like really scheduled, which is super weird because like a lot of relationships like aren't that way. So I don't know. That can be frustrating sometimes.
Yeah. Have you made any plans to not be long distance ever, or are you just kind of seeing how things go for right now?
Yeah, just like the week before Valentine's Day, we talked about getting married. So my friends they're calling it the great like semi-proposal of 2014 because we're like not we're like not engaged, but like we talked about it. So like that's good because even in just like the last couple weeks, like, it feels like it's gotten a lot more relaxed, because it feels like, okay, like, if we've talked about, like, being together after college, then there is, like, a goal, but, like, the last, like, year and a half when that, like, wasn't there, and, like, I didn't want to be the one to say it, and, like, he didn't want to be the one to say it, like, it can feel like you're just kind of, like, treading water, you know what I mean?
So do you feel like there's more trust now that you have it established, like, you know this will probably happen in the future?
Yeah, and I feel like I can also, like, relax a little bit more, but, like, if I don't see him every 2 weeks, it's not like we're gonna, like, break up all of a sudden, because there's sort of, like, an end goal.
Now, does he feel the same way, or do you think that he gets maybe stressed out that he can't see you as much, or?
He, like, he's an engineering student, but, like, I'm involved in, like, a shit ton of clubs, right? And so, like, I'm just, like, my schedule is always, like, crazy all the time, versus, like, so, like, he's busy too, for sure, but, like, I think he just comes home and, like, chills with his friends, or, like, parties on the weekend or whatever, and so, like, I think, I don't know, I feel like for him it's less stressful because he can kind of do, like, whenever, versus, like, if we have to cancel on a weekend, if I have, like, a project, like, I know, like, I'm not free for 3 weekends or something, you know?
Yeah.
So, like.
So, do you feel like your schedule really gets in the way? Have you?
Sometimes, yeah. I was really busy last year when I lived in the scholarship halls. I was, like, I don't know what I think I was trying to prove myself, like being a good student. I feel like a lot of people get into that, like, rut. So, like, this year I, like, cut down a lot of stuff, but it's still, like, there's still always, like, something going on, or, like, a test.
So do you feel like you still have too much going on and it's affecting the relationship, or do you feel like you can balance it?
It's better now. I feel like it's, like, getting better, but I definitely could, like, always use some more help with trying to time manage.
So do you think, are you willing to cut out anything in your schedule, or do you want to at all?
Yeah, I feel like it's getting, like, now that I'm, like, in the social work program and, like, practicum's getting decided and, like, next year sort of, like, shaping up, I feel like I can have a better, because I feel like what I do is I always, like, I sign up for things last minute, so, like, I always think I'm doing, like, this many clubs, and then the school year starts and you, like, end up doing, like, 6 more things, because, like, your friends are in it, or, like, it's fun, and so, like, I feel like if I, like, have a good picture of what next year will look like, then I can, like, know,
and schedule
what
around
the priorities
stuff more. Okay.
Yeah.
So besides just kind of a loose schedule that you have with him, do you do anything else?
We try to be better about, like, calling each other during the day, or, like, trying to not, like, have it just be about visits, because, like, that can be really hard too, because, like, if we're both busy in the evenings, like, it seems like you don't, like, see each other ever, except for, like, on the weekends, like, that one weekend that you get, like, every couple of weeks, and so, like, I think just trying to make it more, like, a normal relationship, maybe, because, like, my roommate, like, her boyfriend, lives in Lawrence, and so they, like, call each other, like, during the day, or they, like, Snapchat or whatever, and, like, we could definitely be better about that too, but, like, we just haven't been, so.
Yeah. Have you thought about maybe, like, establishing new things that you guys will do?
Yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that, because I know a lot of couples, they, like, find, like, a TV show that they, like, always watch together, or they, like, try to, like, cook, like, all of these different recipes or something, and so, like, maybe that would be a
have
good
more
idea.
of a set thing.
Yeah, like a goal, like a routine or something. Yeah, that's a really good idea.
So you said that you see each other every 2 weeks, and then you try to stay in contact via the phone and stuff like that.
Yeah. Skype and stuff.
Yeah. Is there anything else you do to, I guess, keep the relationship going?
I like to send him postcards. I like to find, like, super weird postcards, like, on Mass Street, because a lot of the old, like, bookstores have, like, really weird, like, postcards, and, like, I like to send postcards maybe, so, like, mail too, like, hitting all the communication on, like, all the fronts, I don't know, pictures and, like, Skype and, like, Facebook, like, BuzzFeed quizzes and, like, all this stuff, yeah.
So do you feel like you guys are evenly trying to communicate with each other, or does it feel like maybe sometimes it's one-sided?
Sometimes it can feel one-sided. I'm, like, a lot more extroverted than he is. I'm, like, right between extroverted and introverted, but he's, like, definitely introverted, and just, like, a nerdy, like, engineer guy, like, real sweet, but, so, like, sometimes it can feel like, but sometimes I don't know how much of that's, like, personality, like, if I'm just, like, more, like, likely to try to, like, hey, I saw this really weird article and I, like, thought of you, I don't know, but, so sometimes it can be one-sided, but, like, we try to be really, like, open with each other, like, we don't fight a lot, but we do, like, talk about really hard stuff, and so, like, that can be a really, like, vulnerable thing to talk about, but we have talked about it, about being like, hey, like, I really feel like you don't, like, initiate, like, conversations as much.
Maybe put in the effort as much. Yeah, I'm sure that can be frustrating.
It's definitely something to, like, keep working on.
Is that a recurring issue, or is it not that serious, but it occurs?
Yeah. Sometimes. It, like, really depends on, like, the semester and, like, what our, like, workload is, and then even, like, the week, because, like, obviously, like, midterm week, like, is crazy, and, like, we're not going to be able to talk as much as him.
Yeah. So you said with issues, you are pretty open with them. Are you always pretty open as far as resolving issues, or could you be better at that?
I think we're pretty good, but yeah, I mean, I think we could definitely improve. I feel like most people could definitely improve. It's hard because, like, I feel like with long distance, it becomes that thing where like you don't want to ruin the like time you have together. So like if you have an issue, like I don't want to bring it up over like Skype because like that's awkward and like you can have a misunderstanding. But then like you also don't want to be like, hey, like thanks for the time. You don't want to be like, I don't know, like if I only get 2 days to see him like in the next like 3 weeks, I don't want to be like, hey, like here's all these issues that I have with our relationship, like, you know what I mean? It feels like, and that almost like feels like a checklist too, like you're like, hey, like I've been saving to talk
Taking
about
notes.
yeah, it doesn't feel as like spontaneous.
So do you feel like sometimes it might be harder to bring up issues just because you do have such limited time that you don't want to ruin anything?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like some of it could be our personalities, but also just feels like the context is like just like working against us. I don't know.
Exactly. So do you think maybe you could work on how you're approaching issues so then it wouldn't be necessarily ruining your time together or anything?
Yeah, definitely. Or like maybe just being like, hey, like every week we should talk about if like something went wrong. Because like the other thing too, I feel like is sometimes like you just like I'm just so overjoyed to see him that even if I had like something I wanted to talk about, I like forget. And so like I don't remember until I like don't like I went like alone again like Wednesday the next week, and you're like, wait, like I actually forgot to even bring it up because I just was like so happy to like see him, you know, which like is not a bad thing, but like then like stuff like builds and you just don't think about it. I don't know. So I guess like maybe being more like sometimes the checklist like feels like really, I don't know, like mundane and like not very like spontaneous or like exciting or whatever like when you're talking, but like I guess that could be a good thing for me to like make notes about like I wanted to talk about this, like don't forget to like bring this up.
Yeah, exactly.
Something. Yeah.
So it sounds like you two are really good at bringing issues to the table with things. Do things usually get fixed if you bring it to the table?
Yeah, they always have. That's been the really rewarding thing. I think I don't know if we could have kept up with a long distance relationship without that. That's been really rewarding.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Because like a lot of my like friends' relationships like crash and burn, right? Which is like fine, like that just happens. That's like a natural thing. Yeah. But sometimes like trying to learn from other people's like situations.
Now, have you been in a long distance relationship before previously?
No,
or
I dated a guy in high school, but like we broke up like, you know, around prom or whatever. So like post prom. So like so like no, never like.
Okay. Does he have any long distance relationship experience?
Or? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
So it was very like new.
So everything's kind of new still, even.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like a lot of my friends like went off to college and like had long distance relationships, but a lot of them were like a plane ticket away, and like I feel like that's really hard. Like I feel like I can't complain about it sometimes, which can be good and bad because like I can't like just drive to see him, and like 3 hours isn't a big deal. Like I couldn't do it on my own.
That still can be
Monday,
inconvenient for sure.
Yeah. So
exactly.
It's good and bad, I guess. Like it could be a lot worse. So.
Are there any other issues just besides communication because of long distance, or is that just the main problem that comes along with it?
Communication, I think, is definitely the biggest one, and then also like the prioritizing like time with like you know what I mean, like trying to figure out like not wanting it to like the intentions left. Like I like his friends, like I like my friends, but never wanting to make other people feel like we as a couple like certain people better, like that, you know what I mean? That,
so I know you said you talked about getting married in the future. Do you feel like that you really need to like integrate him more into your friend group before that happens?
So like in one way it like takes the pressure off because it feels like if there's like this end goal, then like we don't have to do it all right now, but like also at the same time then it does feel like pressure because it's like eventually like
you
we're gonna like
to do then,
right, like we can't just ignore each other's friends all the time and then be like trying to like be adults later and like not know each other or friends.
But are both of your friend groups pretty supportive of long distance?
So. Okay. Yeah, and like we've definitely both had friends in either friend group that like have done long distance, and so I feel like people understand like trying to prioritize things, and like if you're like gone for the weekend like a lot, like it's not anything personal, you're just trying to like figure out this relationship that you don't get to do other times of the week or whatever.
Awesome. So with your schedule, do you ever feel like other areas of your life might suffer just because you're trying to make a relationship work?
Yeah, definitely. Like I used to be like a real like straight A student, and now I like let that all go, but I think that's like good too in a way because like the relationship is more important to me, and so like it's not like anything, I don't think anything is like suffered, but like but sort of like learning
just
how
you
reprioritize things, which I actually think for me was like a really healthy thing because like certain things matter more in the long run. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, which is a hard lesson to learn sometimes.
Yeah. All right, well, I think we're done for the day.
Thank you.
Yeah.